Good afternoon. Today is January 4th, 2022 now. It just turned over, so a whole new year. I'm not used to that yet. Uh, we're going to talk a little bit today about gardening in Florida. I'm not sure how this video is going to turn out, my first one. I'm using the selfie mode on the phone, so that's how that's going to work for now until I can. If this doesn't turn out well, I'll use the other one, but I can't hold that well. Florida gardening is a lot different than up north because it's too darn hot down here in the summer to grow anything. A lot of people don't realize that. There's a few things that you can grow in the summer, and as we progress along in these videos, I will show you what I am able to grow during the summer months like July. Well, even June, July, and August are just brutal hot, and there's every bug known on the continent is now in my garden at that point. They eat everything unless you just coat it with spray. And what's the point in doing that to have healthy vegetables if you're just loading them up full of poison? If it can kill a bug, it must not be good for you. At least that's my idea. So winter and fall and early spring is a great time to grow all your cool weather crops, as we call them down here, which is just your normal crops up north. Like right now, the only thing I really have that will not like a hard freeze or even a frost will be my tomatoes. I have these as the mortgage lifter variety, and I have not sprayed anything on them. And yes, there's weeds in the garden because, well, if a weed can grow, so can my vegetable. There's something going on with this one. It may not live. I'm not worried about it. Another thing I learned about gardening is not to over garden. You're not going to come out here and mess with this every day. Come out here every couple days and take a look at it. Maybe give it a little water if it hasn't rained. And then I have some, and these I started from seed. I've been starting all of them from seed lately, and they've been doing very well. It's one of the best tasting tomatoes that we've ever had. These are the bell peppers I started from seed. Bell peppers and I do not get along for some reason. I love them. I think they're fantastic to eat, but I can't hardly grow a bell pepper to do anything with. And then here we have onions. This was actually one onion that started to sprout in the refrigerator. So I took the onion and then I pulled it apart and planted each of the little green pieces that were sprouting. So now, and I've done this in the past and it works. You can actually, each one of these will bulb out into its own little onion. You might get 2 over there. So there's at least 4 onions I'll get from that one store-bought onion. In the garden, I don't know what I plant. I know what I planted. I just don't know where it is. So it's kind of fun that way to be like, oh, what is this? Oh, wow, that was a radish or a turnip. There's radish, turnips, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage. If I said cabbage, it's in there. Turnips, carrots. I know those are carrots. And I usually don't thin them. I just let them go. And believe it or not, they'll still go and they'll still get a good, nice root. And the thing with carrots, if you plant them in the cool weather, they'll make them sweeter than if you planted them in the hot or extra warm weather. There's like probably another row of carrots, I think. It could be. We'll find out. And then those are a whole row of radishes. Now the fun thing about radishes is you can eat them raw, but what are you going to do with, 200 radishes? Well, we like to cut them up and then cook them when we make our homemade chicken noodle soup. We put them right in the soup and they absorb all of that good flavor. It's kind of like a potato and a Brussels sprout flavor. It's a unique flavor. And then last but not least are the Alaskan style peas. I don't know why they're just called Alaskan peas. They actually do very well down here into about May and June. Once these grow, I'm going to have to start cutting some poles, and we'll work with that. We'll work with you on that too, how I make my fence posts, because I'm not I'm not buying no fence posts from the hardware store. They want like 10 bucks a piece. And to me, one of the things about my videos are going to be like, how can you not spend money to do things? And well, this was what's left of the asparagus patch. We got some that is starting to come up back again, but all down through here, this last summer we had, I don't know, 20 or 400 inches of rain or something like that. It was all underwater. I'm surprised that these sweet potatoes actually are still going. We haven't had a frost yet. We had a couple of nights where it got down to 40. That was about it. There's our burn barrel. And another walk through here is, oh, let's talk a little bit about bedding and fertilizer. Grass clippings, also known as hay, from untreated yards. Nobody ever puts, well, let me say this. I don't put any fertilizer and or herbicides or pesticides into my lawn. So therefore, all of my grass clippings are organic, as people say. I think people throw that term around an awful lot. I prefer just natural instead of organic. I mow the neighbor's big side field, which is about an acre, and I use that in the garden for mulch and suppressing weeds. But then lately, we've gotten these little things here. We got these all from very small chickens, and now they've grown into larger chickens. Hello, chickens. There's 5 of them. 2 California tans. These are, the brown ones are, oh, brown chicken. Yeah, I don't remember what they're called right at this moment. And then the other one is a sapphire gem, and she lays a little green egg. Well, it's not little, it's actually a good size egg. And I've been giving the eggs away to people. I should be selling them to offset the cost of the feed. I just had to buy another 25-pound bag of chicken feed. I got there, Henny. There's no eggs, but they already had them today. But as you can see, or if you can see, get out of there, chickie. I use the grass clippings in there as their bedding. And then once they're all done with that, I put it out back and compost it down, and that's going to be our fertilizer. This was a spot where their coop and little run was before, and I moved them onto fresh grass every couple days. They're in about time now to move. Maybe tomorrow I'll move the whole thing here. I keep them locked in there, and I shut the little door and move the whole apparatus over, and then they get onto fresh grass. This chicken coop was also built completely from pallets that I sourced somewhat locally. I have a printing company, and I know a lot of people get pallets of paper, and everything in it was built from a pallet. Well, except for this. This is plywood from something. I don't know what it was from. And these are actually corrugated yard signs that I had a whole big stack of, that I thought, well, a nice white plastic roof would be good to keep in the summertime for the heat. Because with chickens down here, you don't worry about them being cold, you worry about them being too hot. We have our playhouse for 2 kids, 2 little girls. One is 8 and the other one is 2. Which then brings me to the pear trees. This is a pear tree, a Florida home. We had some blossoms on it here a couple weeks ago for no reason whatsoever. It hadn't received any chill hours at that point. And this, I believe, is the hood pear, which is a good cross-pollinator between the two. And then that's one of my homegrown fence posts, which the binder twine has come off from, so we don't really need it now anymore. This is the Einsheimer apple, one of my better apple trees lately. Excuse me. It is a low chill cultivar, which means only needs, I believe this only needs about 250 chill hours. Anything below 45 degrees, I believe that is. And this was a golden Dorset, which had got some sort of apple disease, like my other ones all have. That all part died off down there, and then a new limb has grown, which I'm really just wanting to keep this going so that it would help pollinate the einshemmer, even though the I'm is supposed to be self-pollinating, self-fruiting, and they don't seem to even bloom at the same time, so I guess it doesn't matter. Now we have crepe myrtles, I believe they are, and these are wonderfully overgrown, which is great for me. That's how I like it. Oh, and then our mosquito pool, which I'm going to be getting rid of that here soon. These are what I make my fence posts out of. All natural, and you just chop them off, cut them to the length that you want, stick it in the ground with a pointy end, and then attach your binder twine all along there. And you'll see when I do that here coming up here in a couple, I don't know, hopefully pretty soon. I don't want the peas to lay on the ground too much like I normally do. And I also weed out and try to see if I have to replant any of the Mary Washington variety asparagus. This is kind of a quick walkthrough. And and solar power. We will be touching on solar power quite a bit. I have two 100-watt monocrystalline panels. There is a line that goes up here all the way up to the garage, and it runs charges through a charge controller into a small battery bank. So we always have 100-watt inverter, 1,000-watt inverter. So we always will have power if we need it, when we need it. And it also runs to offset the cost. It pays for itself by running the lights in the garage where I work every day. And we have bananas. This is the banana blossom. These are little bananas that will not be any good, as you can see. I've had some squirrels chewing on these, which was unusual because they usually leave them alone. But this one has fallen over. I usually never have bananas this late in, past December. Usually they're all done by like November. We're eating bananas in November. So this warm weather that we've been having the last 10 years has really offset everything. And then we've got new banana pups coming up. These are plants. These are not banana trees. A banana plant. And there's one there that we may, hopefully, over the summertime, we'll get some a banana to pop out of that. I'll probably, and then down here is my pineapple that I cut the top off from the grocery store, and I planted it like 4 years ago. It probably needs full sun, but if I plant it here underneath this great big oak tree, it won't freeze. It won't kill it. And I have strawberries down here, which they just kind of do their own thing. We don't do much with them, as you can see. Every once in a while, I'll get a strawberry, and then a squirrel will take it. I had a lot more, but I didn't get a chance to maintain them. I had a lot of black raspberries, the Mysore variety of black raspberry, and I was able to save one that had a leaf on it, which no longer does. Hopefully it's just going to sleep for the winter. But once again, from the Great Flood, we lost them all. I had about 12 roots that I got, and those root clusters had all the canes on them, and they were down there. And then that was the end of them after the flood. This was all water out here for a long time. The chickens were up on a little grassy knoll over there. Keep them out of the water. I don't have COVID. I just have a sinusy thing today because of the weather. And it was cold this morning. It was like 40. And then, well, of course, some of you people that are not in Florida are going to be like, oh, well, 40 is not bad. Well, it was 85 the day before. And now I'm out here with long sleeves and my overalls. I thought the overalls would be good to give me a little bit of credibility as gardening wise. You come out here in flip-flops and a pair of shorts, and some sort of cut-off shirt. People, I don't think, will think that you're much of a gardener. This gives me some credibility. They'll go, oh, he's got overalls. He knows what he's talking about. Well, at least that's what I'm hoping. All right, we have a tangelo tree that's probably about ready to go. It's very old, and we had like 4 tangelos on it this year, so I think it's about done. The ruby red grapefruit, I believe, that's the center one. That's about the same way. And at the end, there used to be a navel orange. And the root grew up, the rootstock of that actually grew up past the graft and then died. And then the rest of the tree almost looked like it died. And all of a sudden it came back, and now it's loaded with lemons that look like oranges. But they are some of the best lemons we've had, even though they look like oranges. But they're not. They're great lemons. I probably have to trim this back. Lemon trees are notorious for flattening tractor tires. And if I can get a good, yeah, those are some of those thorns on them. They're very sharp, and if you get poked by one, it hurts really bad. I've done that quite a few times trying to mow around it with the tractor. As you can see now, I make a larger ring around it, and I don't dare go near it with the weed eater because I'm just asking for trouble. Grapefruit tree, there's no thorns, but they kind of got some pokey sticks, and it's kind of looking a little dead. Then everybody should have a junkyard in their out back. That way, if you need a part for something, you most likely will have it. So we'll be, as you can see, I got the trailer back there. I'll be loading up and hauling a lot of that to the recycle place for the recyclable steel. All right, well, once I get a few more things done here, I'll check back in with everybody. If you have any questions or comments about anything, I'd be more than willing to let you comment on it. I may not even care or comment back. I'll try to, because that's the whole point of having a YouTube thing here. So signing off for now, and when I get a few more things done, like I said, I'm going to be stringing up the peas. Maybe I'll bring you along for that, or at least maybe patch together a video for that. Take care and have a great tomorrow.